Hello, hello. Can everybody hear me okay? See me okay? I realize I'm not sharing my screen. I don't want to. I'll have to grab a second monitor that I hope will work for me. One moment. In the meantime, y'all can tell me how your beginner's week is going. What are you excited to learn today? Hopefully we can make sure there's time to cover it. While my monitors cooperate, so I can actually properly share my screen. Come on. Where is the thing I want? I want to change my... Nope, not that one. There we go. Change that. I promise I'm prepared. It's just morning. It's fine. Alrighty. Yes, allow. All right. Oh, it's not cooperating. Hang on a bit. Still doing some monitor. What am I looking for again? What is this called? Extend monitor? No, okay, we'll go to settings. Show me settings. Show me displays. That's what I was looking for. Arrange. I don't want a mirror. I want an extension. Bum, bum, bum. Stop mirroring. Hey, there we go. Okay. Now I can actually see the chat. Thank y'all for your patience. Okay, audio visual looks like it's good. We love to see it. Ignore how messy my office is from where you can see it. I am in the middle of doing winter cleaning, spring cleaning, technically. Okay, let me go fix my share screen again. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now we're good to go. Thanks for the patience. Okay, so welcome to Hacking with GitHub Copilot. It's actually my first time doing this on stream, so bear with for all the technical difficulties and setup. Normally I have a different process. But if you've seen this stream before, you've probably watched Wei or Kari or another coach do it. And so this is another opportunity to learn from someone different. Same content, just different vibes and maybe even different details. So as a reminder, if you haven't checked in, that link is on the screen and in the chat. And I have, I'm sure, some wonderful folks who can repost that link for me in Twitch and YouTube. In case anybody asks later on, asking for that check-in link, they'll be good to go. But if you've been using MCP, AI, etc., we know that currently in schools, it's not exactly encouraged or it's viewed as cheating. And so with this workshop, we're trying to change that mindset because we recognize that at a hackathon, almost anything goes within reason. And we want to make sure that everyone has the advantages that they need and could use in the workplace, which is that a lot of workplaces today are in fact using AI as a coding buddy, as a way to generate some things that maybe aren't as critical. But largely, we want to make sure that your critical thinking is built up with AI, even if we know that there's plenty of like vibe coding out there without really thinking about it. If you've been to any of my workshops, you know that I'm going to make you think, or at least I'm going to make you ask questions so that way we can all think together about how we can get the best outcome possible. Because at the end of the day, my goal is to make sure that you feel like you can go about things efficiently, that you feel like you have an idea of either A, what's going on and how to do it and all the details, or you have the processes to help you find those answers in a manner that is actually effective and not just blind understanding. So we are skipping this QR. This is for in-person, so don't worry about that. I do believe you hopefully will get the MLH Copilot, the GitHub Copilot sticker by attending if you happen to get all your prereqs to make sure that you get your basic swag, or it might be the bonus. I'm not super sure on how this works with Global Hack Week, but bear with. Like I said, our goal is to help you learn to use AI as a complement to your skills, but also incorporating it where it makes sense. So in your development flow or just, getting familiar with things. And right now, the big thing is MCP. But before I tell you about MCP, you probably have no idea who I am. My name is Cecilia. I am actually I've graduated. I have my PhD in hackathons, which is so cool, so fun. I love it. I've been a coach at MLH since 2023, but I've actually been hacking for a really long time, and we'll actually find out just how long at last, finally, as a result of this session and what information our workshop will bring to you. And as a few fun facts have floated around through today in Global Hack Weeks and opening and closing ceremonies, you might know that I can read 3 to 4 books in a day if I'm given the opportunity and I feel particularly motivated. But you also know that I'm a pretty avid software person. Funny. Sorry. But I like knitting and yarn crafting and whatnot. So I'm always down to chat about that. Whether you see me in the wild or even here on stream, some folks will sometimes ask questions about like my favorite book of late or of like updates on my projects. I know Siddharth is the one who usually asks the most about that. So feel free to keep it kind of casual, not too casual. I won't give all the personal information, but I will yap about the things I like. But with that, let's go ahead and get started, which is, as I was saying earlier, MLH hackathons are the best place to learn AI skills. As we know, AI is changing daily. We've gone from like tab complete to MCP, which I gotta admit, I learned in the last few weeks. So I've been pretty AFK a number of things. But we also know that in schools, sometimes it's taboo. And I will say that that's changing. In at least my school, there's a curriculum that I'm helping work to develop, and AI is a complement. We encourage them to say, hey, you used it, but we also encourage them to acknowledge how they used it so we can get an idea of what they're using it for. Not because we're looking to smash them with cheating or anything, but because we really want to understand that they're getting the concepts they need and becoming experts alongside using ChatGPT or their preferred AI to help them become best that they can be and also get their degree and, not just run through it. But again, also with the industry, I have also seen it in industry. A lot of folks are really, really pushing folks to use AI. It may not be the most advantageous way, though. So your mileage may vary depending on the industry you're going to. But AI is greatly changing in the world, and it's best for us to keep on somewhat up to date. We're not going to go super into the details as far as that. But again, the goal is that everyone is here to learn. Okay, so who knows what GitHub Copilot is? And this, you can go ahead and type in chat as soon as you read this question, as soon as you see it. But who knows what GitHub Copilot is? And if you're willing to share, how do you use it in your day-to-day? It can be a really simple task. It can be like your full project flow. However detailed you want to be, just make sure that like you keep it within like 2-3 sentences, because I want you to be able to type it up, hit enter, and we can go through a few answers and then carry on with our workshop. And then if you are not willing to share or you're still thinking about it and you want something else to do in the meantime, if you happen to be aware of the GitHub Student Developer Pack, I'd recommend that you go ahead and go start signing up for that. I'm going to go ahead and share that link in chat in the meantime while y'all are thinking up your answers. Because I want to also make sure that y'all can somewhat follow along or at least start to get the benefits as being an active student usually. We've got a couple answers coming in. I'd love to see it. I'll give another minute or so. For those of you who answered, I just posted a link to the Student Developer Pack on GitHub. This is why I asked if you don't have a GitHub account to go make one. And if you are a student but don't have the Student Developer Pack, go ahead and start that process. I'll also go find another link for frequently asked questions for that to make sure that you all have the resources you need to make sure that if you do get stuck, we can get you through it. And don't tell Siddharth, but I'm going to have a bite of my breakfast while I wait for answers. We got a lot of variety. Awesome. I love to see it. Cool. I'm going to also go ahead and drop that check-in link so that way we can actually see my screen. I'm sitting here like, why is it not scrolling? Because it's inverted because I'm on my laptop. Duh. We're using my desktop setup, but with my laptop. Like, I don't have access to my webcam, and I keep looking up thinking, like, oh, it's going to look different. Like, no, it's not. Wrong one. Okay. So we have GitHub Copilot can be GitHub's own tool, including major LLMs to perform a task better. We've got Copilot can help you with creating your own projects. Not really sure yet. Totally fine. Thanks for sharing. We've got that it's an AI coding agent. An AI assistant, small word for it, but really useful for coding, and all its seamless integrations into IDEs is something really cool. We've got asking how code snippets work. And then we also have another answer where some people help with project building with the pro version by the student pack. Okay, which like really diverse, and there are even more uses out there. So for example, I actually used it to manage my data for me. Like I had anonymized data and I gave it a set of quotes for my PhD dissertation. And I had Copilot, not Copilot specifically. I know that I have another PhD friend who used it to help him write as he was like writing stuff. But like I was like, hey, I need to process all this like data. Help me write a script to process it because it was just a lot of like escaping characters and a bunch of other stuff because I had interview data. Another place that I've seen people use Copilot is they'll use it like we use it as MLHers. We'll use it in our demo as part of opening ceremony to really give you a preview of what the capabilities are. At this point, most people do know about it, but we do want to make sure that like there are people who are coming in who are brand new to it. And I will personally admit, I am actually a very late adopter of AI for a number of reasons, partially because I was like AWOL and doing my dissertation while like AI sped up. I was like head down, must write, must analyze data. Like I'm not ready. And also because I am among the first few graduates in like PhDs at my university to start the conversation about how do we disclose the use of AI? How do we like, you know, is it plagiarism? Is it that we're doing our work? Like, well, how does this, yeah. So I actually held off on using AI for like a long time. And particularly it was because I wasn't sure how to deal with the morality of the situation for myself. And like, I still use it sparingly. Like there are times where I'm like, okay, this is not something I need to use it for. And I won't use it because I try to do things myself. That's like a weird tick of mine. But at the same time, I'm like, how do I use this advantageously? Because I'm now losing an edge compared to other people. Like other people, like it's just part of their like daily thinking. Like I see it in my partner. Where I'm like, oh my God, you just used it for that. Like that makes so much sense. Like, why didn't I do that? Like I was so inefficient. And so it's balancing like where are you using your critical thinking to process the information and make sure you're an expert enough to like read those answers or read the code. But also like where are you lacking and how do you like note that that is a gap and that you do have to go do some research and come back. Anyway, so thank you very much for those answers. I really, really appreciate that you shared with me. As far as MLH goes and the way I'm presenting this workshop to you, Copilot, or GitHub Copilot, is a fully agentic AI pair programmer. As you saw, we said that it was your fifth teammate. And so we want you to be able to use it as a way to help you write, debug, and understand code, particularly in a hackathon setting where things are operating at a very, very, very fast speed. I would know I have a PhD in it. And so I actually joked to my partner the other day that I was born too late to explore the universe, born too late to discover things, born too early to discover the universe, or something like that. And I'm like, okay, well, I was born too early to like really take advantage of AI and have it be part of my natural workflow, like everybody else in this current generation that's like going through undergraduate right now. Because I'm like, oh man, like AI would have helped me a lot. And all those times I struggled with hackathons way back when, before AI, back in my day, whatever. And so now that I started using it, like I actually used it to update my personal website. So that was pretty neat. Is there any way to change your GitHub profile URL? What do you mean you sent the wrong one? Tell me a little more about what do you mean? Is it you sent the wrong one? What does that mean? I'll keep going in the meantime. I'll see if we can debug in parallel though, because I do want to get through the content before our hour is up, because we only have an hour for this. So, like I said, coding with AI has changed a lot. Pre-2024, we just didn't have it. I feel so disadvantaged. And back in 2024, it was just tab completion. There's unreliable output. There's a lot of outdated training information, which we've overcome through embeddings or vector databases and a lot of other things today. And whereas GitHub Copilot today is now fully agentic, has lots of high quality code, and even has MCP server access, which are some of the things we're going to go over today. So like I said, today we're learning by doing. I'm going to take a brief derail to go through the GitHub Student Developer Pack, but we are going to clone a template README for our GitHub profile, amp up that README, make it look a lot better. I'll show you a little bit about what I'm talking about because some people may not be aware of it, especially if you're brand new to GitHub, brand new to coding. Like I want to make sure that everybody's on the same page. Help your fellow hacker, because maybe some people might be like, yeah, I totally know about that. What do you mean? Like, why are we going over this simple thing? It's because not everyone is starting at the same place as you. Then we're going to set up GitHub and MLH MCP servers for live personalized data. We'll spend a bit more time here explaining like what are the pieces that you need, and I'll be sharing some links in case you want to delve deeper on your own. And then we'll be using GitHub Copilot to customize our profile and put it all together. So let me show you some of what I was mentioning. So we have a repo that we are going to be using, where our goal is going to be, we're using this as a template. So as you can see, the lovely, absolutely is definitely Ryan Swift, has made a GitHub repo alongside Way to create a GitHub profile template. Again, if you've attended previous like workshops with this, like you know where it came from. But for those who haven't, Ryan and Way came up with a template README to basically spruce up the README that is visible on people's GitHub profiles these days. So once upon a time ago, that was not a thing. We didn't have that. Like our only profile was the sidebar, which I'll show you in just a moment. And that was it. And now GitHub has really made it customizable with the README update that they did within the last like 5 or 6 years, I want to say. It was really neat when it came out. People were doing all sorts of like tickers and trackers and all sorts of things. And now people have really changed like where they're going with that. So I'm going to go ahead and share that link in chat as well. If you want to go ahead and jump ahead, I'm going to go ahead and hit create template. But otherwise, we'll come back and we'll go through the steps of this as well. I just want to make sure folks have the links. They can open the tabs and be ready to go. Because like I said, I do want to spend some time on the Student Developer Pack. So what are we even talking about? I have pulled up my GitHub, which, as you can see, I have this neat little README, which says a little bit about me. Actually, this is out of date. I am no longer a PhD candidate. I am a full PhD. I have gotten my degree. It's really funny. I updated my bio, but I completely forgot to update my README. Anyway, for me, like this is more about like I have a lot of different titles, a lot of hands in many pots. And you can see, obviously, I have some pinned repositories. So like this is what it used to be. Like you would have just pinned repos and your commit history, which like is garbage because I've been AWOL. Except it's not actually garbage. It's more like I've just been taking a break from everything. But you can see that like there's this profile information, and then of course there's now the README. And so what we're going to be doing is revamping this README, so that way if you do want to have a better README, when it's more like consistent with what you see online, that we'll be able to do that. So something else that you'll need is the Student Developer Pack. Oh wait, hang on. So with MyMLH, actually, we now have the MyMLH profile, which you can see bits and pieces about things. And that's going to tell you more about like yourself, and we'll be pulling from that data because that's what MyMLH uses. So the last thing I want to mention is GitHub Copilot. I do have access to it because I'm part of the Student Developer Pack through MLH, because I am no longer an active student. But if you are an active student, bootcamp, etc., you will be able to get access to the Student Developer Pack. So the Student Developer Pack is this amazing, wonderful thing that every time I give a GitHub workshop, I cannot laud it enough. Because it really helped when I was in undergrad, even in master's and in PhD, which meant I got to have it every single year. So it's not a 4-year account, where I got access to things that I normally would have had to pay for, such as I got to trial different curriculums from like online or like from MOOCs, multimedia online courses. I got to, some of you have heard that because I travel a lot for MLH, I was doing a little bit of coding on the plane, and I didn't want to pull up my laptop, which was a little bit uncomfortable on the plane trays, that I actually installed a Git tool on my iPad. And I was able to get that tool for free because it was partnered with the Student Developer Pack, which I'm like, oh my gosh, this tiny little thing I found is a Student Developer Pack partner. Hooray, I don't have to pay for this. And so like as a student, that really, really helped because like I was broke. Still kind of broke, but like less broke, I don't know. And so with the Student Developer Pack, I highly recommend folks sign up. I do want to take a moment to go find that link for you all, and I will probably toward the end of this workshop, just remind me in case I don't say like, I'm gonna go find that link for you. But signing up is fairly straightforward. You just need to have a university email or some form of academic email that you can use alongside the pack. Have that be associated with your GitHub account, so that way it actually matches up. Because if you put the Student Developer Pack on a different account, you won't be able to move it at any point afterward, which kind of sucks. But one of the other benefits is that you get access to GitHub Copilot. And the reason we want this so much is because we're going to use it for our workshop today. I do recognize that if you are just signing up for the student developer pack right now, there is a likely chance that you will not have it available right this second for this workshop. You'll actually have to wait about 3-ish days, I think is what I saw when I was checking last night, for it to like fully, say, here's all your benefits. But you might have it in time for our next Git workshop, which is Get Good with Git, which is also being led by me. I'll also do the same tirade that is, I love GitHub Student Developer Pack. Please sign up, like use it, take advantage of it. Like it is amazing at how much you have access to before like you are a full person that is not a student anymore, whatever that means. So I actually am in the Copilot settings. So I went to my profile image, the user navigation menu, and I went down to Copilot settings to open this tab. And so this, I've already set up my GitHub Student Developer Pack and my GitHub Copilot. But as you can see, like it's telling you here's how to install the extension. What I do want to do is go to settings like I said I was going to. And so I can go ahead and make all these settings that I might want. So as I said, I am actually like terribly out of date. So I actually don't have a preferred AI that I might use, but you might. Maybe you prefer to use Claude, or you might prefer to use Gemini or OpenAI. There might be a preference that you use, in which case you can select different options about whether you want them enabled or disabled for your use. So you can customize your own experience. Again, there's Grok, Raptor, there's so much. You can also tell it whether you want code review. We obviously have MCP service enabled, hooray. I believe one thing that I did specifically say was like, oh, I'm fine with using suggestions to match public code, but I don't want GitHub to use my data for product improvements, meaning don't, share my prompts, code snippets, etc. I think the other thing I did was also I said, like, you're not allowed to search things online just yet, just because I wanted to see how it worked natively. But you can change these options as you like, as you prefer, for whatever it is that you need it for. Again, if you have preferences on your AI model, blah, 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 whatever. Your choice, choose your own adventure. So I already have my stuff set up. The only other thing I wanted to do is that, where is it? I am looking for the other thing we're going to need in a bit. I always forget. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the other thing is that I went to developer settings. We're potentially going to need this. I already set up a personal access token. There are two types of tokens you can create, and we'll talk more about it in a bit, but I already set up a token that's going to expire tomorrow. Good to have things that are going to expire, especially for workshops. If you are lazy, you can always just do a classic token, gives you all the permissions and things you'll possibly need. I prefer to do fine-grained tokens where I'll set up the different options that I want based on the restrictions of the things that I'm wanting to look at. So I set up a fine-grained token, but if you find that it's asked that when we do this and you follow along and you're doing this, it may ask you for a token, in which case go to your settings and then go to the bottom and then go to developer settings, and then you're gonna look for personal access tokens and then just create either a fine-grained token or a classic token. Okay, so we yapped about the, what's it called? We yapped about everything that we have to do today. Let's get back to actually doing things. So I already sent that GitHub link earlier, which was going to be a template from Ryan and Wei, where you're going to go ahead and go to this green button on the top right where it says use this template, and you're going to go ahead and click create new repository. Now, I already have one created, but I'm going to walk you through what I did. Normally, if you don't have a profile, you would actually put your own, so I'm going to go ahead and put it. So that's my user. The way that README works is you repeat typing your GitHub username. So it will tell me I actually have this. And so obviously that doesn't work. So instead I might say, for me, because I already have a README, GitHub README template, which again, I already have this. So this is just me walking you through it. You don't have to add a description, visibility, or any prompting or anything. You can just type in either your GitHub username or GitHub README template, whichever you prefer, and then go ahead and create that repository. And so once you do, then I can go find it. Repositories. There we go. Okay, so go ahead and close that tab because we don't need it. So once you've created the repository, As you can see, we now have our own version of it, which we'd love to see it. And so normally I'd say, yes, let's use command line. Let's go ahead and git clone. And that is for the Get Good workshop. Instead, I want to show you that sometimes you might want to take the easy route, or maybe you're like, just do it this way. What we can do is, once again, make sure that you copy the top level GitHub README. So I'm going to go ahead and copy. And we're going to go ahead to this agent. So I have this links thing. So I'm just going to do links. .txt. We're going to see if this is going to work. I wanted this as reference. I'm going to pull this over. So I have Visual Studio Code open. I'm going to zoom in a bit. And so I have a Copilot window open already. I do need to walk you through how to pull it up. And we'll get there in just a moment. And then I have my left side, which is just my files and whatnot. So I have a brand new folder. There are different ways you can do this. I wanted just stuff already set up. There are two ways that you can set things up. This is a brand new empty default profile, whatever. You can go ahead and go to Git Extensions and type in GitHub Copilot. I'm going to expand this that way you can see. And so I've got the chat that is ready to update and GitHub Copilot. And so we specifically want the GitHub Copilot AI pair programmer. Actually, wait, I think it just comes in Visual Studio Code. Yes, because I had a default. So you don't actually have to install anything. I'm getting there. As I said, this is the first time I'm doing this on stream, and I'm like, but I already did this. I had to reset my stuff because I slept in this morning. Anyway, so I already have agent set up with Visual Studio Code. It's linked up with who I need to. And as you can see, I have an MCP server installed. So I want to show you the two ways to get your MCP. That's the one I was talking about. The difference is I'm like, oh yeah, just go get an extension. I'm like, oh my God, we have MCPs now. That's like a whole other thing. Oh. So if you go ahead and search either through MCP, so you do @MCP and then you type GitHub. Yes, enable this, enable it. We can actually start searching different MCPs out there. So maybe I know Wei has at one point used Context 7. I know that Ryan has like a bajillion different tools that he uses because he's like testing all of them and stuff like that. But depending on what your MCP preference is or what you're trying to get access to or use, you might be choosing a different one. For this workshop, we are choosing GitHub, of course. So, choose GitHub. The other way you can do things, which is also very nice if you are like uncomfortable with using extensions, you're uncomfortable with like just getting familiar, you're still getting used to Visual Studio Code and you want like a nice UI, there is a spot for you to do that, which is in my links. But you can actually go to this link, which I will post in chat as well. And you can see a really nice UI, and I'll go ahead and put that up as well. If my mouse will come back to me. There we go. Which is that you can search things, scroll things, see a little bit more about things. Again, I'm looking at GitHub, but like this is really nice. And you can also choose whether you want to install it in Visual Studio Code or in Insiders. You can click it and find out a lot more than you would if you're not familiar with the extensions of like, oh, I'm just looking at the small tiny preview, like this isn't great. I prefer to use a web browser. Like this is your place to go ahead and take a look at it. So this is actually what I used last night when I was, refreshing everything, which is why I'm like, oh my God, I already have it. I forgot to delete it. Oh, we're gonna go ahead and install that. But again, you can like look through and see a lot more information. You will obviously still see this in the extensions library, but you may be more comfortable using a web browser, which totally get, no worries at all. Okay, so let's say you install it. It's getting ready to go. I'm going to start my server. But before I do that, if there is, once you've installed, it might start asking you for a token. It might just like not be working. There might be some weird stuff. So just for the sake of getting a clean, ready to go, and make sure everything's good, you're going to open your tools window, which I believe is Control P if you're on Windows. For Mac, it is Command Shift P, and you're going to type in reload. And we just want to reload the window. We just want to make sure everything's good, everything's ready, make sure that servers are ready to go. And so I'm going to go ahead and go back to our MCP, Control Shift P for Windows. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Sorry, Control Shift P or Command Shift P to open that that little top tab that I did. You're going to type reload window just to get a nice little refresh, make sure everything's good. Now I'm going to go ahead to go back to that MCP, and the way I did that was I clicked that little button in the window, and I'm going to go ahead and hit Start Server. So once that is running, I just want to make sure it's good. For me, it's saying, okay, it's discovered some things, we love it. For you, it might actually pop up with that it needs an access token. So remember how I said, hey, I created a fine-grained token to use. You could do a fine-grained or a classic token. You're going to go ahead and go back to GitHub, and you're going to go to your settings, and then developer settings on the bottom of the sidebar. And then you're going to go ahead to your personal access tokens and choose one of the two. If you do fine-grained, you're going to have to go and manually pick what you want. If you want tokens, go ahead and just click and go through that. The reason I'm telling you about these things is mostly because I want you to be able to turn off your server or to have your token expire rather than just you littering tokens all over the place. So this is kind of the equivalent of like good API key practices, where like you might have a key that expires after a bit, or you purposely don't put your key in your GitHub folder. Tokens should generally expire at a regular interval or be only exist for the lifetime of the project, particularly if you're like, oh, I'm only testing, like I need a testing token or whatever. So it's very short-lived, which is why I'm telling you about this, because I'm like, this should be short-lived. Just in case, you know, somehow the token gets out, something goes wrong, whatever it is. This is just a way to like practice creating tokens and getting familiar with that process. But if there's a way to bypass it, which it seems like there is, where you sign in via GitHub auth, you could do that as well. I chose not to because I'm like, I want to be able to restrict access, please. So I already had that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop server because I know that that's working and good to go. What I'm going to go back and do is actually get us started, because we've done a lot of more yapping and explaining and giving you the links that you need to do things, which is that I'm going to show you before and after. I want actually for, my bad, I need this. I remember what I was doing. I want to be lazy. I hate it, but it's fine. For me, it's being lazy. For you, it might be, I don't actually know what to do. I might say, hey, given this repo, copy the contents into this folder. And so normally for me, I'm like, oh yeah, git clone, just use it through command line. But you might not know that, or you might not be comfortable using GitHub through Visual Studio Code. There are many, many, many things that could possibly be going on. And so right now it is using the MCP server, even though I stopped it, which I'm not thrilled about. That's okay. Yes, okay. But it still got my information. Hooray. We love that. So it is, it's saying that it wants me to edit sensitive files. I actually don't want it to edit things. I just want it to copy things. Because right now, we have a template that has lots of things commented out. Sorry. Goodness. But right now we have a README, which is like, it looks like it kept it. Hooray. It's mostly there. Let's go ahead and double check that it actually has everything. From that README. It's not quite giving us everything. We actually should be getting this template, which it's not giving me stuff. Let's try that again. Let's skip that. I don't want you to create things. Did it at least give me, yeah, it didn't do the things I wanted to do it. All right. I perhaps used the wrong, goodness, terminology. So we're going to go delete that. I'm disappointed. Let's try it again. Okay, given this, goodness, given this repo, clone the contents into this folder. I'm wondering if it's because I didn't properly like clear something out and there's something that shouldn't be there, but I have no way of checking at the moment. There we go. That's what I wanted. All right. Now it's telling me run the command git clone. Thank you. Yes. Good. Allow. Okay. That's why I was like, why are you pulling the MCP server? Like, I don't need something. So in that instance, I knew what to look for. Yes, I know I need to update. Run it again. I know I need to update my my ZSH. Oops. It is using the right command. It's just that it didn't. Yes, run it. Allow it. There we go. Okay. I didn't properly clear my folder, did I? Yeah, that's what I thought. All right. Let's go to repositories and go to MLH. No, that's not going to work. We have some technical difficulties in that I forgot to delete some things. Yes. Okay. Remove directory docket. Let's try this again. Try to clone this repo again. Why? Okay. Did I miss something? That's how you're supposed to work. Sure. Fine. Yes, allow me to remove that. It did work. And then it didn't. Okay. Okay, there we go. There we go. Now I can create it back. There we go. Okay. That took way too long. This is why I just clone things and it's fine. You may not know that you had to use git clone. I knew I had to use git clone. I wanted to prove that you could be able to do this, even though I had to finagle the AI into cooperating with me, which perhaps made it harder than it needed to be. That's okay. We're still learning, whatever. Okay, so we do in fact have the correct template now and the correct copies of files. Hooray. And we also have this MCP JSON. So right now, you can see that it's renamed something different so that way we don't have the MCP automatically start. We do, however, have our my MLH. And we just need to do some renaming. But before we do that, I want to go ahead and go back and start that GitHub MCP, which is already started, which is probably why it was freaking out. That's okay. And I want to actually ask it to pull some information about me. So use the GitHub MCP to pull a small amount of profile information on me. And this is just showing how the MCP is going to work. And so if you're not familiar with MCPs, it's kind of like APIs for AI, is my understanding, where all sorts of folks are making all sorts of different AIs. And we want for folks to be able to use their AIs. And so this like simple thing, I think was by OpenAI, just blew up. And people it's just been used everywhere because, again, API for AIs. Where an API is a way for someone to retrieve data or communicate with systems or send data back and forth. And in this case, the data is the AI content output, etc., where it's just easy to get information and whatnot. So we love that GitHub MCP already pulled some information. We saw this in my profile when I was opening up GitHub, saying like, oh yeah, this is their bio. This is basically the sidebar and whatnot. And so we love that. Now we're going to go back. And so this is all good to go for my MLH. I'm already signed into my MLH on my system. So it should be good to go once I go ahead and change that to mcp.json. The reason we had that rename me is so that way the server didn't automatically start when we opened the repo. We're just going to go ahead. And now it's already saying like, yeah, you can start it. Do you want it? And so I'll go ahead and hit start. And for you, if you are running this, it may instantly tell you, hey, let's go authenticate your account. In which case, if you're signed into my MLH on your default browser, I found that out last night. That's a bug I have to go report. But if you sign in on your My MLH account, then it will authenticate through that because you do want to prove that it wants to get the data from that. And then you'll need to, it will in fact be on your local browser. Like it'll be a 127.001 something else. Yes, that is okay. It's going to be run locally. It is correct. If you are still having bugs, let us know through the Discord with debug tools and whatnot. But now that we have the My MLH, we're going to say using the My MLH MCP give me a small amount of information about me. And again, we're differentiating between GitHub versus my MLH. Yes, I want to allow it to get user. And it's giving me relatively the same information. You'll notice that my information is inconsistent across everything because I've just left horrible trash of outdated information everywhere, and that's okay. But now we have some information, and so now we can go ahead and go back to our README, and we're saying, okay, make my GitHub README profile README better by integrating my MLH and GitHub, capitalize the H, folks, MCP data about me into this template readme.md. And as you saw, it had like hackathons badging and followers badging. It had information about me and all sorts of other stuff. So we're gonna let it do its thing. Cool. So it's given me a personalized template. It is now my job to decide, do I want it? Do I hate it? You know, what am I gonna keep? So I'll go ahead and keep the insertions. Yeah. Oh, I don't actually need the comment. That's okay. I'll fix that in a moment. Let's go ahead and delete that. Okay. And then it's getting rid of, it didn't actually do the repo bit properly, but that's okay. That's fine. Yeah, my tech and interests are, that's somewhat accurate. Yeah, I'll keep that. And there's nothing else. So let's keep that, but let's comment you out since it didn't work. That's okay. And then let's go ahead and get rid of that last comment, hit save. And so I can actually see if GitHub Copilot will push for me, or like commit and push for me. But given the adventure we had with cloning, I don't want to try that. The other thing being is that if you are not like ready to put this on your GitHub, maybe you want to make changes to it, maybe you want to make new tags or badges, maybe you want to add more content to it or fix it up, or maybe you're like, oh, I don't use the word heyo, I use like sup or hello or hi, or I do something else, right? Then there's a quick little way you can preview things before you hit commit, in case that's of concern to you, where you can, goodness gracious, I just want to be able to open preview. So open preview, and it can tell you more about me. So I love that it has the correct stuff, that I am in fact a PhD. So that would be more updated. Hooray. And yeah, so great. It is absolutely wrong in a couple of things of information. That's okay. But the point is, it had the information that it pulled. I would have to go through and correct it. But with that, we now have a dynamically updated README. So if we ever make changes and we're like, oh, I don't want to go through and update all my stuff, I don't want to have to think of creative taglines, consider using Copilot for it. So to rehash what we did today, we cloned a template README. That took a while because we talked about the student developer pack. And also about making personal access tokens versus just, using your authenticated login. Then we go ahead and set up the GitHub and MLH MCP servers, one of which is local and one of which is installed through the extensions or through your web browser. And then finally, we used Copilot to customize our GitHub profile. But first off, we used Copilot to just confirm, like, do you have access to this data through these MCPs? What kind of data are you going to give me? Okay, yes, confirmed. Those two are working. Let's go ahead and bring those two together to synthesize a new README that we actually like. So with that, we are at 10 minutes till the end, and I know that you have Today in Global Hack Week coming right after this. So if you have any feedback, I do believe the link is, I think it's this. Nope. GHW.MLH. Hey, that's not it either. You'd think I would remember the feedback link, but actually Today in Global Hack Week, we'll talk about it. So go ahead and join up with Today in Global Hack Week in 10 minutes, where somewhere near the end of it, they'll talk about giving feedback. where they'll actually give the correct link that I am totally goofing on. And if you want to give feedback on the content of the workshop, or on maybe we spent too long on something, or we didn't answer a question, whatever it may be, go ahead and fill out that feedback survey for this workshop and any of the other ones you've attended in this past week or coming up. So with that, I think I'll let you all go and enjoy the rest of your Global Hack Week. I'll periodically be back for, like I said, the Git Good workshop. If you want to join me then, find out more about Git and actually using command line and not AI. And also, if you want to join me for Today in Global Hack Week, I've got a few of those, and then I'll be running closing. So good to see you all, or at least read you all. And I wish you all the best and enjoy the enjoy a beginner's week here at Global Hack Week. I can get my mouse to work. Hello. Hello. There we go. All right. Have a good one, y'all. Enjoy the rest of your Global Hack Week. Make sure you check out Today in Global Hack Week. Find out what's coming up next.